Later this year, we're going to have a boss rush coming out in Dead Cells. So for right now, why not go start up a normal mode run and just try to go up against a bunch of the bosses as practice? I don't know. We're already doing something of a casual chatting stream, as it were, as people are asking me what games I've played before. So I think they're going for something nice and simple, nice and easy. See if I can get a huge variety of weapons to actually work against some of the boss that I have trouble with, like the Scarecrow or Mama Tick. Not the worst idea. Certainly. So there. Is that good enough? We're playing Dead Cells right now? All right, chat. What to do? Well, Vorpan. You know, I've been using the Panchaku as of late. Oh. Yeah, sure. Been using the Panchaku as of late. Might as well try out something a little bit different. And also, there we go. Hit the item that I want to right now. So I don't know if there's anything that I really... I guess usually I have disengagement whenever I'm doing anything. And then... let's say open wounds is a pretty common one as well. And vengeance, sure. That should be good enough for any sort of boss testing that I'm going to be doing. All right. He's now in recording mode. Yeah, well, you asked me for that. You were getting sick of just like chatting about video games, and now we're doing this. So how about that? Dead Cells guy does have a gun. What are you talking about? Have you never played with the machete and pistol? The machete and pistol. All right. So, hey, you know what? Here, let's do like boss analysis type of stuff. So, the basic way that the Concierge works. Every once in a while, throw on the shield, does damage to you when you're close. If he's walking towards you, not in melee range, he'll do a sweep. And then if he is in melee range, he'll do a punch. Punch has a very, very long startup time. You have ample time to get out of the way before he actually manages to connect it. Does make it a little bit more difficult to do parries in case you're looking to try to attempt that. But of course, getting parries on the Concierge is very useful. In the past, the Concierge would have too large of a shield to be able to roll past. That is no longer the case, and that actually makes trying to fight him, you know, much, much easier because he can't just get back into a corner. After he's down about half health, or I think like in the second phase, if you are not playing on the higher cell difficulties, he will start to switch up doing a sweep with instead doing a jump. Jump is pretty easy, and I do believe that I can actually just kind of, if I stand like at a good distance here, well, not when he has the shield on, but if I stand at a good distance, then he'll just, sail right over me. Sort of frustrating if you're trying to go for parries, but that is very, very good time to try and get parries in on this guy. It is a very vulnerable sort of situation. Anything else? Whenever he does a phase change, he yells, goes invincible for a brief time, knocks you away, usually getting you hit by the energy shield. Watch out for that one. Aside from that, he is the easiest boss for good reason. Fairly slow, extremely predictable sort of boss. Usually not really any issue at all to perfect if you're even trying to be diligent in any way. And if you're not, you'll get hit once like I just did, but whatever. That was weird. Went right through my shield. And one of the nice things about second phase is just trying to constantly get into his melee range, specifically to try and bait him into punching you. Once you get that parry timing down, it works out pretty well. Trust me. Doing a boss guide now? I guess. I don't know. Whatever. That's what I say. Let's switch out for a different build. Some little bit more. Yeah, you know what? Why not? Obviously, I don't really think... Most people probably don't really need too much help with the Concierge. It's a simple boss overall, needless to say. However, the next one up we got is the Conjunctivious. Formerly the final boss of the game. One of the more frustrating ones because it will get out of range of most melee attacks extremely easily. As always, since I'm playing on 5-cell mode, it do kind of bypass the first phase, but otherwise it's going to be mostly similar. So Conjunctivious flies around the arena, alternates back and forth between two attacks. One is the charge attack, And the other one is, I guess it's called like Venom Spit. It doesn't actually poison you, but, you know. It is still, that's the name. If it gets it within melee range, it does that zappy attack then, and that will suffice. And unlike the Concierge, who will just do that automatically whenever he is within melee range, and then just kind of continue on with normal attacks. Conjunctivious has, the zappy attack replacing one of the attacks otherwise. So now it should be, back to the Venom Spit. That's why I got 2 Venom Spits there instead. Dash. Venom Spit, or maybe she'll try and get up close to me. Nope. Venom Spit, since I'm in melee range, instead goes for that attack. Sort of annoying, but, you know, it's really the fact that one of the big things that made this a very dangerous character back in the day was the bullet hell attack, as it's called. Usually, though, these days, you have enough DPS that you don't even really need to worry too much about that. Like, you will get to the point where you'll just kind of bypass it if you have enough DPS. Best way to build DPS is... sure, whatever. Best way to build DPS is, of course, just to build one stat. And then we get into this phase, sort of the interstitial phase, where tentacles will be trying to come up underneath you if you're standing still and sweep across the arena. After killing one of the tentacles, or waiting long enough in this phase, they will become progressively faster and faster. Really, the thing you want to look out for is the one that is sweeping across the ground. Tentacle sweeping across the ground is the one that tends to hit you more than anything else, because it's always kind of questionable as if they're coming from the left or right. So be careful of that one. Funny enough, dealing enough damage to the tentacles also does deal damage to the Conjunctivious. If you have enough DPS, I think you can even bypass phases just from, like, overkill damage. Doesn't happen too much. So Conjunctivious starts to go a bit faster and adds a few more venom shots for the thing. Obviously, each wave just sort of alternates. If you're far enough away, it's very easy to dodge. If you're close, try and go for a parry. Usually best advice there. Obviously, don't try and stick around the walls because those spikes will do a number on you. Parrying, also very easy to do there because it's quite predictable. So if you are going to be playing this melee, trying to wait, not waiting to get near the Conjunctivious, but instead trying to hit her with a shield, usually a good strategy. Here's the bullet hell attack. Oh, not really a lot of good strategy when it comes to dealing with this. A shield will help you out a good amount of situational awareness. Stare directly at the Conjunctivious and then worry about moving the main character second is usually what I'd suggest. Hanging around on the corners works pretty well. You know, it's a hard attack to dodge. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. But yeah, you can see with the little bits of dirt on the ground where the tentacle is going, and that's kind of how you can predict if they're going one side or the other. You can also jump over them, you can roll through them, parry them. Just make sure that you're not paying too much attention to the tentacles on the ground so you miss the one that's actually swiping up towards you. Yeah, the frustrating thing with this phase, and all 4. Now, the frustrating thing with this phase, then, is that it gets super fast, so you can't even run up the Conjunctivious to start trying to get a little bit of extra DPS if you're going a melee build. And that is, of course... And, sometimes the angle just doesn't work out well for parrying the dash. So, all things to try and think about as you are fighting this character. That said, a good ranged weapon, you'll do just fine against the Conjunctivious. Just make sure that you remember, alternates back and forth between the Venom Spit and the dash, so that you don't accidentally get caught off guard by the dash because you're trying to keep the distance. That sort of thing. Haven't seen the bullet hell attack in a while. Yeah, usually you have good enough damage to be able to just bypass that. Kind of know what you're doing. All right. Let's try one of the more difficult sort of bosses that I can go up against with the old machete and pistol, as I was just talking about before. And I'll keep ice armor. Ice armor, despite being something that scales with survival, doesn't make too much of a difference, really. Do we just use a health potion in the practice room? Well, yeah, I'm not taking optimal builds to go in here, you know, nor am I super high up in stats right now, you know? Mama Tick, oh boy. Has something, the phase changes have that same sort of fun issue when it comes to trying to dodge around attacks, similar to how the bullet hell attack works, but that comes every phase change instead. Pretty much, though, for the first phase, what you're doing is you occasionally get a Scythe Claw pop up from the ground, dodge it, continue trying to hit the eyeball. That thing, though, I don't know. Usually what I try to do, I try to just stand still, and then, you know, dodge as I can. I gotta say, though, there's just not really a good way to do it. But then again, I really need more practice against the boss, really. More often than not, I tend to go melee, and that is sort of hard with this boss because it likes to counter whatever you happen to do. You at a big distance, shoots these things out. Like, jumping is better than rolling when it comes up to dodging the little poison shots. I'll just use a potion charge to be sure. Now, dodging is better than rolling when it comes to doing that. And make sure you really stall out your jumps to be sure. The other thing, though, is melee attacks. Melee attacks are frustrating. The Scythe Claw slash, roll, jump, and then as you get a little bit farther into the fight and she starts doing even more of those, you gotta roll, jump, roll, jump, roll, jump. That's pretty much the best way to do it. Roll, jump, roll, jump. That sort of rhythm is what you're trying to look at if you're dodging that attack. Occasionally you get that, but that is the single Scythe Claw like jab has enough of a time that it happens to not be that big of a deal. And I'm still very bad at dodging this attack. Can you parry these? I don't even know if I've ever tried. Yeah? Nope. Or at least if you can, it has a very specific sort of pattern to it. This attack, though, that one, you can conceivably dodge, I think, the jab, the single jab attack. I don't know if you can parry that. Or, you know, try and go for like a simple dodge against it. I don't think it's worthwhile. I think that one is just to book it out of there as soon as you see her try to pick up both of the claws. Not as consistent of an attack here compared to the previous ones. Dodge, jump, dodge. Parries if you're feeling saucy, but I think it's probably best with the Mama Tick to try and go in for like, you know, a couple hits and then try and kind of like go back and forth. Because these claws hit a big distance. And of course, like I said, phase change is just hard. It's just hard to deal with. When I said less consistent, but I mean, it's just like, yeah, it does go back and forth between like sweep and then jab, sweep, jab. Like most of the bosses, it has a very consistent sort of phase, but it can still kind of catch you off guard if you are trying to maximize your DPS a little bit too much. And that's the whole thing. Don't get greedy in Dead Cells. Dead Cells, it's rough if you try and go in too hard. Maybe more than anything else, I feel like that's how I lose runs, because I just decide, it's probably fine. I can probably get in there for a couple more seconds. Not usually the case. Does the Cocoon allow you to parry an attack? Parry an attack and parry any attack 360 degrees. It's pretty nice in that way. Mama Teeth Clawed Crownless Purple Pineapple? Yes. Yeah, no, you got it. Well, I mean, I also have, like, the big death animations turned off right now if you're wondering about the goofy death animations. Timekeeper. Timekeeper back in the day was one of the reasons. When she was the final boss, she was the reason why the shields were considered, like, straight up overpowered at that point. It's a little bit hard to do the parries against her swipes. However, against any of her thrown attacks or the dash, it does wonders in terms of DPS. If you get caught by her golf swing, any sort of stunning, I'm talking like, you know, or slowing, is going to be your best friend. Otherwise, let's just hope you got a shield, because that's the best way you're going to be able to deal with her. So, best way to deal with the throwing attack, if you aren't using a shield at that time, is just like jump, and then roll through the next ones. See if I can do that here. No. But yeah, that way you can have that, because if you just try and roll through them, you will end up getting too many of them kind of in a row to be able to dodge it with just a single roll like that. Pairing, though, is your best friend. Also, just kind of like rolling past her. She loves to do a thing where she will just kind of teleport away from you. And I do think that doing that in kind is not even a bad idea. But really, if you're struggling with this boss at all, use a shield. The attacks are very well telegraphed and pretty easy to kind of figure out. For the like spinning Mega Man style shield of shurikens that she gets around her, I do think that, yeah, just like jumping over the first one and then reacting to whatever her future attacks are kind of like the best way to do it. And we got the final phase here. Start to get, you can't really stand still after this one because you start to have swords fall from the ceiling. Just kind of keep moving is the best advice that I would give there. And then, of course, everything also just gets more parts to it. Except for like that. Starts throwing out more shurikens, starts dashing twice. Jump, slide. Jump, slide in the parlance of Mega Man, if we're talking about that again. Kind of going to be your best friend. Obviously, with the other thing is that if you can get a good like turret, that will help counter her whole dashing around. A lot of bosses at this point, you might notice, just have the ability to... There's just a number of bosses that have the ability to frustratingly... Oh, jeez. Yeah, parry. Frustratingly get out of range of melee attacks. And that's why going with, like, turrets so that you can focus entirely on dodging becomes that much more valuable. But overall, and being one of the first of the second tier bosses introduced, it is one of the easier ones, so if you're just looking for, hey, what's the one that you can take down easiest enough, Timekeeper's probably going to be your best friend there. The swords are seen in one of the Clock Tower lore rooms. They are floating on the back of, in the background, as you read a little bit on the specifics of how exactly... Well, of how the Timekeeper's kind of been attempting and mostly failing to deal with the whole zombie threat on the island. I mean, not that that makes any surprise, considering that there is an entire time thing going on here, what with her intervention. Giant is, you know, much like the Timekeeper, one of those bosses that I think works best if you have a shield. His huge, just ridiculous amount of projectile spam is well countered by a shield because, again, it's very, very predictable. However, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's easy. So, punch. Punch easily countered by rolling. Slam easily countered by getting out of the way. Of course, if you don't have a shield here, that's where it gets a little bit trickier. Like, yeah, whenever you see him start to bring one of the fists towards the middle of the screen, that's when you definitely want to prepare yourself to jump there. And that's also going to be a very true thing for the eventual Hand of the King fight as well. Overall, unfortunately, it used to be that when he had his eyeball show up, that you were able to just attack the other hand. No longer the case. So... Fortunately, trying to get like piercing weapons is not as much of a strategy here. Still, though, something like Blood Shield, just look at it. Look at it go. And you can hit both hands at once, getting damage in on both the stuff. That or trying to utilize, say, punishment shield is super good. Here, oh, these are some of the most frustrating parts. Oh, and then we got the super attack. So first super attack, where he just goes for this. If I did that correctly, it would have just been jump, 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 and try and get away from like the side of the screen there as soon as the fists start to come over. That's kind of the easiest way to do it. I wanged it there, but if you got enough DPS, you won't even have to worry about trying to dodge that attack. This is another one of those bosses that becomes easier the better DPS you have. I mean, that's true for every boss, but you know what I'm saying here. If you can burst him down, you're going to be having a much better time. So let's talk these crystals. These crystals are annoying. They sort of fall randomly, and that makes them frustrating to deal with. Oh, wait. Other super attack. Shield's best way to do that, or just kind of same thing that you do with Conjunctivious, but just with a little bit tighter timing. That's what you're looking at right now. Okay, let's do this without the shield for once. You can kind of see, they telegraph the basic route that you should be taking. That's just execution. It's just a pure execution part of the fight, of course. But now, okay, I've been putting off talking about this for a while. The crystals. Crystals are hard to dodge. You just kind of got to keep your head on a swivel to make sure that you're not about to dodge into another one. And as always, do not... come on. As always, do not try and be too greedy with your attacks. However, one of the, pro tricks that they don't tell you about, these are considered trap damage. Masochism will allow you to take a lot more punishment from the crystals. And if you're using something like a giant killer that can't be interrupted by enemy attack, that's any one of the survival weapons, by the way, you can, in fact, just, take the hits, take the beating and keep on yeeting. That's maybe a good suggestion if you're struggling with this fight, say trying to get the fifth boss cell. Because you can't get the fifth boss cell by beating up the Hand of the King. You gotta do it by fighting the giant on 4-cell mode. Alright, keep whacking here. Can you do the other pattern so that I can actually dodge it proper this time? But yeah, you know that you're going to be getting crystals anytime you see him do the double fist attack. And as the fight progresses, you start to have that just more and more. Okay, let's do this without shield this time. Back and forth is the strategy, but again, I wanged it, so, got that attack, though. So if you're looking at other strategies against the giant, oh my god, just the constant DPS you can get out of any decent tactics build using a couple decent turrets will just do wonders, because it will be constantly attacking the giant, no problem at all, and you'll be able to take him down, maybe even before he attacks. I had one of the more popular videos that I've had on the channel is me going up against the giant with a very powerful magic missile, and he literally couldn't do anything. So that and shielding is some of the best advice I could give when going up against that guy. All right, next up we got the Scarecrow. Oh god, the Scarecrow. Hope you like ultra fast attacks and just tons and tons and tons of it's just a really hard bunch of attacks to dodge around, but let's get in there and do it. Best boss. It's a consistent boss, and if you know what you're doing, it's really not that bad, but at this point in the game, he will chunk off, 70-80% of your health on 5-cell mode in a single hit? It's a lot of fun. And with the explosions and everything around there, too, summons, he throws ads in this fight. It's not great. All right, so start. He walks up towards you, tries to hit you with the scythe. After a couple seconds, we go into this attack. Every time he jabs the ground, he summons in a mushroomed boy. And if he hits any one of the mushrooms, or if you hit any one of the mushrooms, they explode. Be careful there. My recommendation, as soon as he jabs the ground, be prepared to kill the mushroom boy. Scythe attack here, actually pretty easy. Don't get too fast because he's got his own dive attack, which does hit you. But otherwise, as long as you're kind of rolling through them or preparing yourself, or preparing yourself, it's just like preparing yourself for like a parry, you can get through it easy enough. Once again, biggest advice, don't get greedy with the attacks. Getting greedy with the attacks isn't great. Okay, he takes out the shovel. He'll try to hit mushrooms towards you, which will then explode. Run towards him at that point. Biggest advice that I would give here. If you see him start to use the shovel to pitch mushrooms at you, running towards him will prevent you from getting hit. But as you can also see, you can roll into the mushrooms before they hit the ground, to kind of like destroy them and cancel out the damage that you would take. Very useful. This attack, fun fact, hits twice, so it's extra good to parry that attack. But again, if you get hit even once, you're gonna have like 70% of your damage taken. Oh yeah, another way you can activate these, jumping on the mushrooms, so watch out for that. Well, anyway, so shields, oh yeah, don't walk directly on top of the mushrooms though, also bad. This is again a very parryable attack. When he runs out of mushrooms, just starts whacking you. It's enough to get a little bit of extra damage, but still not the easiest. You can of course try and jump on the mushrooms to maybe give it a little bit more distance. Maybe destroy some of these mushrooms to make sure that they're not about to explode on you. I get to see that weird floating down thing. But this is a glitch. This is not a normal part of this fight. Anyway, I don't know what's up with that. Like, hey, we're doing the boss showcase here. Do you mind not doing weird things? Okay, well, anyway, that attack would have been when it brings out the watering can. Watering can, roll underneath it. Roll underneath it, and then get prepared to roll the other way. That is the best advice that I can give to you. And that is going to be the way that you... as he starts to do that many, many more times over the course of this. And then, of course, having 3 of them here to make this extra difficult. Me not taking out the mushroom boys fast enough means that now I got to deal with this, which is fantastic, too. Ugh. It's a lot. This is a fast fight. If you are confident in your build, you can take down... The Scarecrow does have relatively little health compared to other bosses that you're going to be fighting. Okay, here we go. Doesn't activate the mushrooms, but, you know, still, you jumping any point in time is going to set you up badly. All right. So yeah, Scarecrow you can take out very quickly. If you got good DPS, and if you're feeling confident in your ability to deal with the extremely fast hits he's going to be laying down. Like, there's a point where at the 3rd phase, right before he's about to die, that entire thing where he's using the sickle to try and hit you, or the hoe, I'm actually not really sure what it is. It's like, you can't parry and then parry again before he hits you. It's ridiculous. Which is why what I like to do is I like to get a parry and then roll, let him do another attack, then get another parry, then roll away, you know, get some distance there. It's rough. It's rough, I'll be honest. And that boss is not easy. But if you can do it, but you know, it is an important one if you're trying to go for like 100% of everything. I don't know if I would recommend fighting the Scarecrow on like anything but the most powerful of runs. And the King. And this is your usual final boss, and usually a pretty big, and usually he's a glass cannon basically. Yeah, he is a very fast, hits very hard, but has pretty low health. So if you got like good stuns, if you got good DPS, well, it's like you can take him out, but if you got good DPS, you can stun lock the giant. You know? Successful parry resets the cooldown, so you can. It never felt like it for me. And, you know, speaking of like Cocoon, I don't think Cocoon works because, again, he hits twice with the sickle attack. Okay. Hand of the King. This is usually a big old bottleneck for people. Very fast, little telegraphing on... Well, slow... But all of his attacks have very little telegraphing to it, except for this very first one that he always throws out at the beginning of the fight. That's easy enough, just run behind him. But like that, yeah. Parry it easy enough, but like actually trying to anticipate it sometimes is hard, especially if you go in a little bit too fast. But, you know, jump, roll, jump, sort of the best way to take care of it, if you can. Just kind of move out of the way whenever he decides to bring in... move out of the way whenever he decides to bring in the bombs. That's again one of those get your distance sort of moves. And they also do... the bombs also do explode a lot faster than you want them to. But overall, you should just anticipate that the Hand of the King... Okay, now really. Just anticipate that the Hand of the King is about to attack you like a second after he does any one of his attacks. Pretty much, I would say every one of the jab, you know, like the big slice, roll, and then jump. because it doesn't matter if he's doing the slam down on the ground or if he's doing the... Okay, please. If he's doing the slam down on the ground or if he's doing the 3-hit combo, either one of them, roll into jump is a good idea. The dash, fairly easy to dodge, all things considered. All you got to do is roll through it. And that one does have a little bit more tell compared to most stuff. But like I said, for the most part, just anticipate that he's about to attack. If he's about to move at all, like, I would say roll, almost. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This is a tough boss. And it takes many, many hours to try and start to do this as a perfect fight. Unless you decide to go in and take the barrel launcher and the crow's wings. Barrel launcher and crow's wings, he will be completely unable to attack you because all of his attacks are on the ground. So floating in the air, you can't really do too much. And you can get a free colorless barrel launcher from, using the distillery route. And that is one of the easiest ways to just perfect this fight, no problem at all. Do watch out that he hits your barrel and reflects it back at you. But if you are truly struggling and you cannot get this fight down, that's a great way to cheese out the fight, let me tell you. And it's not even just the barrel launcher. That's like one of the easiest things to get, and that works for any build, of course. But, I'm just talking specifically, like, a ranged weapon, period, will do you good. All right, any sort of bomb, any sort of turrets, any sort of, like, ground covering, I'm talking like fire or whatever, will take out these banners pretty easy. You can also just kind of get good distance on them, or even just, interact with them. Watch out. That third hit of that strike, by the way, does hit, like, all the way across the arena here, so look out to think that you might be, like, outranging him. That is not, unfortunately, how it works. It's like he will seemingly manage to hit anywhere, any and everywhere around you. All right, at this rate, I'm going to have to do this again. Too much time trying to talk out the basic mechanics. All right. So here you get, if you're not playing this on the high cell difficulty, usually you get one more phase where he also summons only one elite and 3 regular enemies. Here you get 2 elites and 2 regular enemies. If you're lucky, you can get one of the regular enemies to fall on top of him since he ends the phase after you kill the elites, or wait long enough. Be careful for that. But if he has a regular enemy fall on top of him, he'll take an outrageously huge amount of damage from that, which is pretty funny, and also makes this next phase a lot easier for you. Keep that in mind. I'm actually waiting long enough that we're seeing his first, like, swing attack here, which usually you don't see. His big slam attack, while very devastating if you get hit by it, very easily countered as long as you haven't been spending a little bit too much time on the platforms around here. Thankfully. And also stall it out a little bit, because he will try to... Oh, jeez. That works, I guess. Stall it out a little bit, because if you go too early as soon as you see that attack, this is the one attack that he does not stall out a ton. So, or the one attack that he actually stalls out, that he does not have, like, very little telegraphing for. Uh-oh. Yep. That was the problem. That was the problem. Don't want to do that. All right. Let's go do this for real this time. Oh, he's probably the best boss in the game. He is a very fun boss, but like I said, his extremely... He will swing at you almost instantaneously. At least it feels that way when you're playing the game for the first time, when you're playing against him for the first time. So it's hard to predict, and it's a hard boss to fight. Like I said, there's ways to cheese it out if you really don't want to try and learn this boss. Don't feel too bad about that. All right, dodging, parrying him. Parrying him is a good strategy. If you can get all 3 hits there, because he does stall it out long enough that even if you have the brief invincibility from just carrying a shield around, that you will get hit by all 3 of his combo hits. Thanks, Motion Twin. Thanks for designing it like that. But that does mean that, you can parry him pretty easily. As soon as it does 2, 3. Yeah, it does take a little bit to get. And, you know, of course, if he then goes into the jump attack, you cannot parry the ground slam, which is usually why, again, I like going for the roll and then... Okay. Always be prepared to jump. I mean, I prefer going for the roll on the first one, but you do you. Oh, yes, and also, one of the frustrating things is this is one of the characters that really does counter ranged weapons well. You'll notice that he will hold up his eponymous hand and block a lot of, like, range attacks. Not everything, so it's not impossible to, you know, do a pure range attack against this guy, but it is certainly not the easiest thing. All right, his dashes, while annoying, are mostly there to try and force you into the spike pit more than anything else. You don't tend to get killed by getting dashed into. It's the aftermath that's the problem. Oh, by the way, when he's invincible up here, he does, okay, sure. When he's invincible up here, he does, in fact, like, eat projectiles. So that's fun, too. All right, all right. Just give it a second because, you know. Yeah. This is another arena where if you're having a lot of trouble, like, dodging the dash attacks, it might actually be worth trying to take masochism in here, too. You can also just kind of hang out in the spike pit if you just need a very brief reprise as well. Which I don't know if I would necessarily recommend that as a strategy, but hey, he's got it there. And if you try and go with any sort of pushing weapon, he will kind of jump out of the pit if you knock him into the spike pit, which makes him a lot less predictable. So I would say avoid doing that. Good luck, though. It's a hard fight. It is a hard fight. All right, all right. Oh boy, let's just keep this build and go for the servants. All right. These are basic characters, but they're characters that attack you at once. Whoa, Nelly. The super slam, the super slam. If you really need to stall an attack. If you really need to stall in the air, attacking can work. Yeah, you do get like a very brief amount of stall time in the air, you know, whenever you use any sort of attack. I mean, I think aside from like bombs. So that can save you. It's not something I would rely on too much. All right. Okay, so it's just all three of them at once. Well, that's useful. All right, Cleo. Or not. Not Cleo. Whatever. I'm fighting Cleo now. So each one of these characters has their own thing that they do, of course. Parrying is of questionable effectiveness when you have multiple characters attacking at you. First one, let's just say the one with the Wrecking Ball, Cleo, is annoying. Her basic ability is it's a very slow slam, which you can kind of move out of the way. Once again, don't get greedy. Will end up with you getting a lot of damage. But she also does have a very fun ranged attack where she'll just throw the... Okay, now, please. Let's just do this here. So yeah, the basic slam down of the Wrecking Balls, fairly easy to dodge. That's really not the worst. It's the one where she slams them all the way against like the walls, and usually at two different angles that are more frustrating to deal with. However, it is the easiest of the three. Just kind of watch out if you are at enough of a distance that as soon as you see her whenever you see her pull that Wrecking Ball back, that you are prepping up either to parry or roll. So here, yeah, it's prepped up to parry. Euterpe. Euterpe is a very obnoxious character who has a lot of range attacks, obviously being the bow user. Watch out for the slam down. Basically, the best thing to do with the slam down, I keep dodging through it. You shouldn't dodge through it. Just like when she appears, which should be right now. Or not quite yet. Yeah, can't even go on the wall because she does throw two then. Right here. Yeah, it's got like the snipe attack. You can roll. You can try and parry. I don't know if I would recommend that. Waiting for it to do the slam down attack. Jump. And that leaves her open to be attacked very well. And then you can roll behind her whenever she tries to do the sniping. It's a good way to get a lot of extra damage in against her. And then, of course, she'll also do this. You can either stand in the middle or roll through it. The timing is a little bit tight, but it's possible. It's not the worst thing to try and deal with. It's just more obnoxious when she's paired up with the other characters because, you know, that gives them a lot of chances to attack you. You can try attacking her up here, but she'll usually jump up into the ceiling before you're able to do much of anything. So I think best thing to do if you're trying to attack Euterpe. I also realized that just like, no. Cleo is the third character. Calliope is the first one. Damn. Can't remember the characters here. Okay, Wrecking Ball character is Calliope. The character with the blades is Cleo. Character with bow is Euterpe. Okay, there, jeez. Get that out of the way here. Look, I'm trying to do the fight. It's hard. But anyway. So yeah, Euterpe is more of a support character than anything else. And she'll probably be the one more often than not that you end up killing third. Now Cleo, now that I'm calling her the correct name this time, is the really annoying one. Her whole running across the arena. As soon as you see that shining trail, be prepared to either parry or just roll through. And I would recommend rolling through because if you take damage from her, she does a ton. Also does have some basic melee attacks, which I don't even know if I would recommend trying to counter. I have a hard time even trying to take care of her when she's doing that attack because she moves forward. She's got like a 3-hit combo. And again, it'll take out most of your health if you get hit by that. Oh, do remember against Euterpe when she does the arrow rain, roll into it. Roll into it. Do not roll away from it. So like towards her, towards where she's coming from. And then otherwise just keep moving. Parrying will get you a lot of opportunities to get attacks in here. Kind of what I would recommend against Cleo more than anything else, but you know. It's a hard time. This is a hard boss. And of course having 3 of them at once is just horrible. Oh, and I didn't even talk about how Calliope does have the, there we go, does have the one attack where she slams both of the wrecking balls on the ground if you're going for more of a melee focused type of thing. That's just, hey, get like 1 or 2 attacks in here and then, yeah. Nope, didn't want to go for it that time. Get 1 or 2 attack, yeah. Come on, go for the slam. Come on and slam, and welcome to the jam, etc. Yeah, I don't think, yeah, that one. Just run away. Jump, and then roll. Because it's got a big, huge shockwave on it. And additionally, is just overall frustrating. Cleo's other really vulnerable time is after doing her 3-hit combo. Kind of pay attention to that. But overall, it's just like this is a nightmare fight. It's a hard time regardless. Ooh boy, oh boy. Ah, hit the microphone. Hopefully that wasn't too loud. All right, let's go take out a different build here. Take the wrecking ball myself if I want to die. I don't think I do. Here, let's go in there. Try and talk it out a little bit more. See if I happen to forget about any. Sure. See if I happen to forget about anything as I was doing that very frantic explanation with that boss. If one of them dies, they disappear from the fight? Yes. If they get down to half health prior to the points at which you're fighting them, they will run away. And if they die in this part of the fight, when you're fighting all 3 of them at once, they die. Bruh, Spite Sword? Yeah. I know Spite Sword's great and everything. Well, that is not what we're doing here. Always starts out with Cleo attacking you. So 3-hit combo, go for the back. Really, though, it's just, I don't even know if I would recommend it. Wait for them to attack and then go for counterattacks. Or in the case of Euterpe, just try and roll behind her. Or, like I said, jump after she does the slam. Ah! Parries. Trying to catch Cleo in a parry is a good opportunity to try and do stuff, but, you know. And like I said, jump into hits. This is definitely a boss where jumping is a great way to dodge most of these attacks. It's not easy, though. Like, none of this is easy. Come on. Oh, Cleo, you weren't going to try and go do that again? And roll behind, hit, roll behind, hit, roll behind, hit. And I was going to go for the parry, but Cleo just kind of rolled right over me. Hit, hit. Oh, now I need to jump for that one, and I still got hit by the actual wrecking balls themselves, not even the other stuff. 3 hits, hit 1. Yeah, I'm still just getting slamma-jammed, as you can see. Okay, that was close. Okay. And 2 hits in the back when she does a throw, basically. Ah. And then I got hit by the slam anyway. Go with the parry. I'm going to roll through that one. I don't feel confident in my parry. All right. 2 hits and then roll. 2 hits and roll. Oh, wait. Got to jump that one. Roll. And now... not making this easy, are you? Parry on that. Yeah, roll and then parry. Roll and then parry was the strategy there. Like, as you can see, it's like this one is just like one that you got to get used to. There's no... Slam, and then jump, and then... Should have jumped a second time, but I wanted to get in the damage. Give me a second here. Thanks. Roll, parry, parry, and then still got hit by that. But yeah, it's like you need to... There are things where it's just like you need to do a lot of stuff at once. Roll. And I should have jumped there, but I didn't. Oh, what a fight, man. 3, hit once. 2, 3, jump. And I didn't even have time to jump a second time. You know how that goes. It's a tough boss. This, like, legitimately, I do think these 3 are tougher than the actual Queen boss. It's rough. All right. You can also just run that attack too, but good luck when you have all 3 of the characters alive. Obviously, again, it's just like... Hello? They give up? I think they gave up. Okay, there we go. Yeah, it's sort of like catching the Concierge during... It's sort of like catching the Concierge during the jumping attack, where, trust me, when she does this thing, it's best to do a parry if you can, but if you can't, then you gotta roll through. Remember, you can roll while jumping, so... It's not like ideal sort of circumstances, but hey, it'll work. Whatever works, man. There. Ugh. And of course, everything lines up in a way that it's like, you gotta be real specific in how you're doing stuff. And see, she does not even get stunned by that parry. Does get stunned by that, though. Which is nice, at least. Okay. Jump and hit and parry and jump. I'm actually even using the second, like the double jump, as sort of like a major strategy when it comes to making sure that I'm jumping properly against when Euterpe decides to come down. Okay. Still, I don't think that trying out this boss, probably not even the worst idea. Really getting a hang of like the 1, 2, 3 sort of combos that I got to do to really make this work. Range attacks obviously going to be working a little bit better for Cleo just entirely, but whatever does it, you know? And one more combo. There we are. Oh, these 3 at least don't get harder as difficulty progresses. Yeah, they don't get any new attacks or anything. It's a one-phase type of thing, but it actually gets easier as you beat them. It's true. Yeesh. Well, then, maybe focus one so they don't all come together at the start of the fight. Yeah, I mean, you can try, but good luck trying to make that work, really, is what I would say. That is one of those things that is much easier said than done. We got the queen hanging about here at all. Because, I mean, certainly you can attempt to, but more often than not, you probably just end up having Euterpe as the final boss, as the final part of that fight, and, you know, not really too much else to be said. Do seem to get fast to a degree. At the same time, you used all 4 pots. Yeah, well, you know, I'm also, like, not really building. I'm not... Normally, at this point in time, you would have a build. All right. Normally, at this point in time, you would have, like, a better build here compared to most stuff. Queen. God, do I even know how to fight the queen all that much? I usually end up dying against the guardians more often than not. Am I taking Face Blast? Don't I have Vengeance? Or are you asking why aren't I taking it? Oh, I did take it. I thought I got rid of it. All right, Queen, let's go. Be prepared to take the lame thing. But anyway, so her basic thing is many swift attacks. She also likes to False King Allant you pretty much constantly. There's a decent amount of attacks that can be dodged just purely by... Decent amount of attacks that can be dodged purely by doing a jump, but like that one, for example. But the one where she throws down like a column of flame is not great. Parrying, obviously, very effective against a lot of this. In fact, one of her big gimmicks, the ability to parry your attacks, is well countered by just auto parrying her as soon as she tries to do that. Yes. Of course, then she also has attacks that you just can't parry. This entire fight is generally just built to be hard. It's just a hard fight. And having a command grab, while it is slower than a lot of the other attacks, is just frustrating. To be honest, you know, a lot of the fights that I've done up against the Queen have been in a way that... Come on. I've just kind of overpowered her, and she's died before the fight's even started. Much like the Scarecrow, it is possible to just totally out-level her, and that's usually how I end up doing it. But yeah, having her False King Allant going into parry is not even a bad idea. There. Of course, having her pull out some of the phantom weapons is not helpful. It's not good for your health either. Can't parry grabs, after all. Ugh. You do have the Mercy Revive, yes, but that's the lame way. Oh, come on! You can't turn around as you're doing that. Okay. I'm not even attacking her fast enough to be able to get her parry stuff going on. I think this is going to be one that it's like, I really got to go do... You know, that's the thing I think I'm going to do. Next time for these fights, we'll do a... Next time for these fights, we'll do a hour-long fighting the Queen type of thing to get a little bit more used to this fight. Because I'll be honest, I haven't really fought her a whole lot because she's a very hard fight. Don't have as much expertise to be given here. And as you can see, a lot of the strategy that I do employ is just kind of like, and then there's this, which, you know, just keep moving. What can I even say? A lot of the strategy I employ is either parry or roll as soon as she does an attack. Oh, she able to stun out of that. So, like, roll. Oh, wait. So she roll, hit, roll, hit, roll, hit, roll, hit. And that works even if she does the whole counter parry, too. So, you know, roll, hit, etc. and so on forever. But is that really, like, the best way to do it? Because she'll occasionally do that, or, like, the slam down on the ground, which you can't parry, so, you know. That can be kind of frustrating if you aren't killing her within the first couple seconds starting the fight. Fortunately, like, unlike the Collector, for example, you can't actually... There we go. Like the Collector... for example, you can't actually parry the fire whirlwind there. Make sure that you stall it out a little bit with that grab, because as we've seen, she can just kind of like turn around and grab you. Ah! Can you parry that? I actually don't even know if I've tried to parry that attack. Nice try. Yeah, it's just like hit, roll, hit, roll, hit, roll. And then, of course, one of the other fun things that she can do is... Oh, well. I guess we'll have to wait until the fun things is that she can grab your, like, projectiles or thrown items and throw them back at you. You can knock her out of doing that, but with how fast she moves, it's not the easiest thing. Oh, come on now. Not hiding, it's just a hard boss. Okay. But yeah, I'll admit, don't have as much good advice to be given on the Queen. It is very easy to just kind of like out-level her, like I said. Yeah. Whatever, I should really just lose here after all. I don't deserve this win even if I get it. Dash hit, dash hit, dash hit. Can she kill Mushroom Boy? Yeah, and she did. I think like one of the episodes I did pretty recently was had that as the thumbnail, where she was murdering Mushroom Boy in the thumbnail. Well, at least when she decides to go for that the anti-ranged weapon parry. You can roll through this attack too, which is what you're planning to do with that, by the way. Turrets, of course, also like very effective in this fight, just in general, because of the whole, much like the Timekeeper being very dodgy in this way, does mean that you unfortunately have like a lot of opportunities where you just cannot really do damage if you're going melee, especially. Like I can do like the 1 hit or 2 hits, as it were. Don't try to grab me. Ah! Oh, whatever. Once again, this is a shameful win. Oh, but like, yeah, it's a hard fight. Not much like Scarecrow. Not going to sugarcoat it. They have been the arms race to try and create the hardest fight possible in Dead Cells has been ongoing in the DLCs. Don't worry about that. All right. Now, finally, we got our good friend, everybody's favorite, the man about town that we all know and love, the Collector. Let's do it. Why is there a hooked effect whenever blood procs? I mean, that's just what they do to show that the blood, that, you know, after you deal enough blood stacks, that it does a burst of damage, Dark Souls style. Do a Frost Blast synergy? Oh, yeah, that's real effective. Okay, unlike the Queen fight, as far as final boss fights go, this is an endurance fight. This is one of those, spoiler boss. If you're looking at the boss rush, you know what these bosses are, I assume. Well, the pseudo boss rush I'm doing right now. But anyway, what was I saying here? Collector practice fight is unscaled. Oh boy. Well, I am playing this on 5-cell mode, so what does it matter? I see. Well then, you know what? Maybe we'll just say go and watch my other videos on this one. Or you know what? You guys are on your own. Learn this boss fight yourself. Okay. All right, now we can get into random tangents. What do you want, guys? What are we talking about today? You can't win this? Have you seen me fighting this character before? Yeah, I can. Can't win this. That's the words of somebody who hasn't tried. So I see that this one, fight-wise, yeah, maybe not as well-balanced motion tweening. Still got to do this one perfect too. Can't actually parry these, in case you were wondering. I mean, don't get greedy is, as always, a good advice in any situation, especially in Dead Cells, because losing any amount of health is going to be bad. Doubly so here. Ow. Unscaled. Okay, then, sure. Also, watch out. He likes to switch out how many times he does the whole syringe. I cheesed it, but I should have the cool stuff that you get for finishing it, you know, flawlessly, because I have done that before. There's video proof of it, but, you know, it wasn't implemented at the time. Whatever. You know, the real thing is do it again if you're so good at the video game, right? Right. Haven't even gotten him past his first phase. Should be almost there, though. Go pick up the collector killer. No, I don't think there's anything that I'm going to be able to do with that. So yeah, you're on your own on that fight. I'm not going to try to fight him for real at like level 1 stats against an end game boss. All right, so there's a little bit of fun boss fights, analysis. I don't know. And so I just something I've been considering doing for a little while, and now with the whole boss rush thing, is a perfect opportunity to do so.